Alan Brissell is taking it for all angles. Welcome back to Fog Football. Scotland legend, Talksport host, whatever you want to call him, Alan Brissell. He is getting hit with absolute pelters, my friends, after he was on Talksport this morning and basically said that women's football doesn't matter and it will not be ever as big as men's. And you know what? I mean, we've talked about women's football for the odd time on this channel. You know the reality is, folks. It's garbage. All right. I don't care how many subs or how many people that makes tune off our videos. That's the reality. No one cares about it, right? We'll get into the quotes and we'll get into the meats and potatoes of all this stuff, right? But as Alan Brazil said, when someone says Man United, you don't think of the women. See, when somebody says Celtic or Rangers, do I think of Celtic women? Do I think of Rangers women? You know, Arsenal women, Chelsea women, City women. Now, if someone said Glasgow City, then I would think of women because there is no male team called Glasgow City. But see this agenda that women's football over the past decade has been rammed down our throats. I mean, there's more money probably in women's football than there is Scottish football at the minute, man. The TV deals they're getting for the quality they're putting on, it's an absolute disgrace. And to see Alan Brazil get branded as a dinosaur is utterly pathetic because what Man United have revealed this scheme. Let's see, it was something to do with the Man United scheme to get back to winning the Premier League. And his co-host, whose name just absolutely eludes me, the blonde woman, she's annoying, man. She's absolutely annoying. But she was trying to point out that getting Man United's women's team some silverware was a primary target as well for the club. No, it ain't, man. Manchester United, people's always going to think, right, the Busby Babes, the treble winning team in 1999, right? Sir Alex Ferguson winning the league in his last year, that Van Persie folly, right? The class of '92, right? People are going to think of that. Oh, I mean, I couldn't even name you one woman player that's ever played for Man United, man. I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. I remember making myself a coffee last week, and the Manchester derby between the women was on the telly because they must have just come on after one of the other games. It's one of the worst quality of football I've ever watched in my puff, man. We've seen the women's national team get beat by under 15 boys in a behind closed doors match. It cannot be taken serious. And you've got this co-host calling Alan Brazil a dinosaur. It's a joke. And she's like, oh, 20. I've seen people on Twitter as well. Oh, 20 to 40 years. It could be as good as the men's. It will never be as good as the men's. It is literally impossible for it to become as good as the men's. It can't. It actually can't become as good as the men's. It started too late. Even if you want to talk about exposure, right, and viewership and attendances in games, right, it will never get close to the men's in that. Because let's be honest, men's just had a head start, and therefore the quality alone just carries it. No one cares, man. No one cares. You know what I mean? You might have a daughter, you might have a sister, you might have a girlfriend. I doubt you're going to have a mother that plays football, But point is, it's they will be honest with themselves and admit that women's football is nowhere near the men's. See this fucking delusion that we're holding here that they're equal, they're this, they're that. Most of us listening to this video could fucking get a game for the women's, man. And most of us haven't probably kicked a ball in about 10 years. It's an absolute disgrace. So this is what Alan Brazil said. With the greatest respect, when you talk about Manchester United, women's football is getting more important now. But when you talk about Manchester United, this is the men's we're talking about, the Premier League, when we're talking about Mission Impossible, not the women's. Ahern insists that fans do care about the women's fortune, but Brazil doubled down. He says it isn't a priority. I'm sorry, people around them are not bothered. It is true, they're not bothered. Within the bigger picture, they're not. No, the bigger picture is fans want to see Manchester United in the Premier League challenging. That's the bigger picture. It's not that important compared to the bigger picture. I'm not going to sit here and lie because it's not. End of quote from Alan Brazil. Totally agree with Alan Brazil, right? You ask Mark Goldbridge, you ask Roy Keane, Gary Neville. You know, I was trying to throw in like a bunch of examples, YouTubers, ex legends. You ask them what's the top of the priority list between the men's team winning the Premier League or the women's. You know what I mean? For every Rangers fan that's listening to this video right here, right now, what do you want? Do you want Rangers to somehow claw back a 10 or 13 point deficit this season and win title 56? Or do you want the women to win the league? Everybody on God's, even the women playing for, like, see if you say you support Manchester United, right, and you're playing for Manchester United's women's, I would even guarantee that women would rather Man United men win the league than their own team. That's how fucking ridiculous this has got, man. But I heard she didn't like this. Oh, stop being like that. You sound like a proper dinosaur this morning. I don't know why you're being like that. Brazil refused to back down. You're kidding yourself on. I completely agree with Brazil. You know, she is kidding. It's just this fucking woke agenda, man, getting fired down everybody's throat. Women, no one cares, man. No one actually cares about it. It's forced. I mean, the deadline day, they try and pretend that it's like, look, this person's moved between United and Chelsea. Oh no, it's a woman that's done that. Then at the bottom of the screen, it'll say Tottenham 1, Manchester United 2. Well, I didn't know Tottenham United. Oh, it's the women. You know what I mean? That's exactly what it is now. She doubled down and said, "That's unbelievable for you. You're the one with the granddaughter playing football. Listen to yourself right now. That's important." Right. As I pointed out, it doesn't matter. Good for Alan Brazil's granddaughter. I'm sure Alan Brazil has done all he can to facilitate his granddaughter getting, the best chance at succeeding in her career. But the fact of the matter is this: she can play for Manchester United. It's no the women's Manchester United team is nowhere near the men's, and it just goes for every club, man. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Crazy talk, man. I just honestly don't get it, understand it. It's ridiculous. Anyway, leave your thoughts down below. Fucking agree with Alan Brazil. Maybe a Celtic man and all that, but he speaks a lot of sense. Leave your thoughts.